First, I'd just like to say I'm really honored to be here on the stage alongside all these baseball legends. Although I'm a little nervous with all these great hitters sitting behind me. I'd like to say congratulations to my new classmates, Edgar, Mo, Harold, Moose, Brandy, and our wonderful sons. It's been really awesome getting to know you guys this year. I want to begin by thanking the Baseball Hall of Fame. In particular, Mrs. Jane Forbes Clark, Jeff Adelson, running a tremendous museum and organization. I'd also like to thank Shasta, Whitney for all their help in preparing me for this special weekend. Thank the members of the Modern Day Baseball Era Committee who gave me this incredible honor. I'm also thankful to the sports writers to keeping my name on this ballot for so many years. Like all the other guys here, you couldn't do this without your family. So many people have helped me reach this stage, but before the very beginning, it's been my family that made me into who I am today. They're the main reason I'm on this stage right now. My family have given me the support I needed to find success, has been with me through thick and thin. It began with my parents, my grandparents, my oldest sibling, who taught me the invaluable parts of life. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat people the same no matter who they are. And most importantly, always be respectful. Bobby Jean, my oldest sister, was the backbone of our family. If there's one person I wish could be here to see this today, it would be her. To my mom, my dad, my sisters, your support have meant everything to me. To my children, Nikita, Lee Jr., Dimitri, Nicholas, and Alana, you guys mean the world to me. And to especially my lovely Diana, thank you guys, I love you. It all started in a small town, Castor, Louisiana. If you think Cooperstown is small, you've never been to Castor. But don't let the small town fool you. Castor provides one of the strongest local communities you could ever find. So many people came from Castor together to support me, to put me on the path to success in baseball, and kept me on that path. It was Mr. Sneed, my high school principal. Once he called me into his office, I thought I was in trouble, but instead, he wanted me to come out for the baseball team after seeing me throw a ball in our PE class. But I was focused on basketball. I said no. I knew my family couldn't afford the equipment I needed. The next day, Mr. Sneed called me into his office again, and I can still picture it. On his desk was a brand new uniform, glove, and all the equipment I needed. It was community that gave me the chance to play baseball. There was another young man named Mr. Bobby Gray, a community leader who loved the game and saw something special in me. He wasn't affiliated with the school, but he made it his business to get me on the baseball diamond. There was times I didn't show up to practice, even games I was supposed to pitch. I'm not proud of it, but I was 14 years old, and I thought my future was basketball. Bobby would come and find me either at home, at my parents' pulpwood business, or even one day on the lake fishing. He got me on the practices. Once he even held up a game, claiming there was something wrong with the field until I arrived. Castle's a rural area. Sometimes we drove hours to countless baseball games on the road. What I'm trying to say is that it wasn't just my arm that got me here. It was the whole community of Castor, Louisiana, and I'm thankful to each and every one of you. So how does a kid who thought he'd be playing college basketball end up signing with the Cubs? It was a stroke of luck. I happened to be pitching against Vida Blue's nephew, Cliff, who drew some scouts, including the great Buck O'Neill. But the scouts ended up more interested in me. I'll never forget Cliff. I thank him every time I see him. Buck was scouting for the Cubs and took a keen interest in me. He followed me around the middle of nowhere for a summer. He did a lot of traveling, but he kept up with me. When I graduated from high school, it was Buck who offered me a contract in 1975. In the minors, things weren't always easy, but they got off to a great start, thanks to my first manager and coach, Mr. Jack Hyatt. Jack was the first person I met in pro ball. He picked me up from the airport in a Datsun 240Z. I don't know how fit. At that point, the honesty I felt from Jack was unbelievable. Through our first 3 years of my minor league career, as we moved up through the Cub ladder together through 1977, when I was converted to a relief pitcher in 1978, I hit a roadblock. I thought I was on the path to the majors, pitching well, but the team decided they wanted to make me a relief pitcher. I was discouraged. In those days, you wanted to be a starter or nothing. Near the end of that 79 season, I packed my bags. Instead of going on a 10-day road trip, I went home. I think back now, it's hard to believe I didn't want to sign that next year's contract. Well, thank God for Mr. Billy Williams. He knocked some sense into me. After that 79 season, he explained that the game was changing and relief pitching could be valuable. So I went back to the Cubs, began that 1980 season with the Wichita Arrows as a reliever. Suddenly, it all clicked. I wasn't thinking seriously about the game as a starter, but as a reliever. I saw a tunnel to home plate, and I was painting. I focused on every at-bat, concentrated on each hitter. 5 months later, I was in the major leagues. I stayed in the majors because of a young man behind me, Mr. Ferguson Jenkins. He was my teammate, also my pitching coach, and like an older brother. I mimicked him on and off the field. I even started wearing the cowboy boots. He was someone to look up to. Also taught me a great curveball, a third pitch that came very valuable out of the bullpen. I got to say, there's a young man out here in the audience, Mr. Gene Kleins. He was one of my first coaches in those early days with the Chicago Cubs. He was like a father figure, and I still look up to him. He always lent a helping hand when I needed someone to talk to. And he wasn't afraid to give me a little tough love when I needed it. Family means so much to me. I felt the warmth from the Cub family every day I walked to the ballpark, even before I got to Wrigley Field. From the fire department across the street to the ground crew on the field. To me, it truly was the friendly confines. I love pitching at Wrigley. Yes, there was home runs flying out of the ballpark, especially in the late innings, when they get at the late innings in the game, but it helped me learn to pitch. Wrigley taught me to concentrate on every pitch. There was no margin for error. I have so many positive feelings about Chicago Cub fans. Chicago's where I started, and they gave me my first opportunity to play in the major leagues. Even when I left, I knew I wanted to come back because I love it. Thank you. Mr. Wrigley was a wonderful owner for having a young player. And what Tom Ricketts and the new ownership group have done is amazing. The same family feeling and what they accomplished in 2016 is unbelievable. While my plaque in the Hall of Fame has a Chicago Cub on my hat, all 8 teams I played for were outstanding organizations. The fans in all 8 cities had the same love of the game and felt that energy every time I recorded that 27th out. It drove me to try my hardest. Boston, when I was traded to the Red Sox, how lucky am I to move from Wrigley Field to Fenway. Really enjoyed my time in Boston, and the fans' love of the team and their spirit was undeniable. I felt at home in St. Louis because it matched my personality. a laid-back, small-town feel with fans who had great passion for their team. And those were some of my favorite seasons, playing under the great Joe Torre. My next stops were special in their own way. The Yankees, who it turned out didn't need a closer, they had someone else ready for that role. The Orioles, playing under a good friend, the late Johnny Oates. The Angels, who owner Gene Autry, came down in the clubhouse to talk every day. A real thrill for me after growing up on his westerns. And the Reds, where I became fast friends with Barry Larkin. With the Expos, my career came full circle because I had a chance to play under Felipe Alou, who was one of the first people I met in baseball. I got to round out my career in a wonderful city with the twin phenomenon of Pedro Martinez and Vlad Guerrero. Now we're together again, teammates. I have to thank another classy organization, the San Francisco Giants, for a chance to continue my life in baseball after I retired from pitching. I owe a lot to Bobby Evans, who I met when he was a Red Sox intern. Bobby opened the door for me to find a second chance career, something I love sharing, the knowledge with my next generation of young pitchers. No matter where I pitched, I always wanted to embody my two traits, loyalty to the team and my teammates. I never wanted to disgrace the uniform, and dependability as a teammate and as a pitcher. It didn't matter when I was given the ball, 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, no matter how many innings I pitched, as long as I can impact the game and help my team. I truly believe from all walks of life, if you work hard and if you're loyal and dependable, you can really find success. Those are the lessons that I learned in the course of my life from the community, from the people in baseball who have become my second family, many of whom sit behind me today. You kept me pointed toward home plate, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you.
The great Lee Smith smiled the entire time.